It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Thank you, Dick. Hello, everyone. I decided to do a special podcast on the state of the Habs drafting. How have they looked how have they compared with other teams in the past 4 years since Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton took over the club, and they brought in Nick Bobrov to assist Marty Lapointe at the top of the food chain there when it comes to scouting. Most of the Canadian scouts are the same as they were before that, with Bobrov being the main addition. They've had a couple other changes, but Serge Boisvert is still there. Shutrin, Donald Audette, and others. So, I think they realized that the Canadiens had done a decent job of drafting prior to those guys taking over, and they kept Marty. Smart move keeping Marty on board, because I think Martin Lapointe is one of the best talent evaluators in hockey. But and I mean, you need to look no further than their record since 2022, the 2022 draft. Obviously, they had the first pick overall. The draft was in Montreal, and it's hard to argue with them picking Slav first. There was a lot of pressure, obviously, and a lot of expectations that they'd be taking Shane Wright. But pretty fair to say that they were correct in passing on Wright and taking the big Slovakian. Shane Wright is going to turn 22 in about a month's time, and he's not close to cracking 100 points as an NHLer yet. Slav may be, close to 200 before he turns 22. So it's and I mean, he brings other elements to the ice that Shane Wright doesn't bring, but not many players from that draft class in general bring. I mean, it helps. It doesn't hurt that they've had 3 top 5 picks, but you also have to nail those picks. And where I think, I really think they're at the top of the league when it comes to how they've drafted, not because they picked Reinbacher, Demidov, and Slavkovsky. Those were, especially Demidov, was a pretty obvious pick. It kind of fell into their laps, really, right? But I think where the strength really lies is in what they've done after the top 60. I don't think there's another team in the league that can comes close to how the Canadiens have drafted outside of the top 60. It's just it's been really incredible. Obviously, the most obvious pick to talk about would be Lane Hutson at 64th overall. This century, excluding Russians and goalies, which different kettle of fish, right? Goalies, you never know. They don't get drafted that high, and they're unpredictable. And Russians, same deal with the unpredictability part. Also, they come over later often, like Kaprizov did. But excluding Russians and goalies, there's only one Calder winner this century that wasn't drafted in the first round, and that was Lane Hutson. And not only was he not drafted in the first round, he wasn't drafted till the 60s, so almost the third round. So that in itself is just an amazing feat. And with the exception of Scott Gomez, again, excluding goalies and Russians, every Calder winner this century was a top 17 pick in the draft. So it's beyond notable that the Calder winner from last year was picked 64th overall in the draft in Lane Hudson. And it's fair to say it's the biggest draft steal of the past 4 drafts. I don't think there can be any dispute of that. Just when you look at that number alone, right? He's third. There's 3 players that have more than 90 points from the 2022 draft class, and Lane's one of them, and he's a defenseman, right? Slav is one of the other 2. Cooley's the third. So 2 out of the 3 top scorers from the 2022 draft were Montreal Canadiens picks. That's that right there is ultra impressive. But you know, it's the picks after 60. The true measure of a scouting staff, I think, is when you can find NHL talent outside of the top 50, and even more so the top 60. And the Canadiens in the last 4 drafts, I think, have done a better job than any other team. It's important. I mean, I can give you 3 examples of teams that basically, with drafting players outside of the top 45 or the top 40, and you know, really hitting some gems in late in second and third, fourth rounds. 3 teams that, and I mean, there's other examples, but these teams ended up being contenders for a decade, basically, because of this picking these players. And I can think of Edmonton, Detroit, and Boston. Edmonton, obviously, back in their heyday, right? They landed Mark Messier in the 3rd round. We're talking early 80s. Glenn Anderson in the 4th round. Well, not early 80s. That was 79, I guess. But when their first year in the league. So in one draft, in the 3rd and 4th round, they got Mark Messier and Glenn Anderson, 2 future Hall of Famers. The following season, Jari Kurri in the 4th round. 81, they picked Steve Smith in the 6th round. And Esa Tikkanen nabbed in the 4th round a couple of years after that. Well, that right there, I mean, yeah, the Gretzky obviously was a big part of it, but he doesn't win 4 cups without Messier, Anderson, Kurri, Smith, and Tikkanen. Those 5 combined for 19 rings, and they were a huge part of that Edmonton Oilers dynasty. Boston, well, they built an annual contender in the 2010s, you know, thanks in large part to players drafted outside of the top 40. Like Patrice Bergeron went 45th overall, right? David Krejci, 63rd overall. Lucic at 50, Brad Marchand, 71st overall. That was the core right there, and all drafted out, 45 on, right? It was so important for them, and that they had guys picked, in the 1st round and higher than that never panned out in that period. But it was these picks, these selections that built a team that was, they were a contender for a decade with that group. Detroit obviously had Yzerman as a building block, and but he didn't come close to winning a cup. In fact, there was a lot of talk that he wasn't a winner, that he would never win cups, until the team added Nick Lidstrom and Sergei Fedorov in the 3rd and 4th rounds, okay, in 1989. I mean, there you go, right? They weren't winning a cup without Lidstrom and Fedorov, and it pushed them over the edge. And then a decade later, they snagged Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk in back-to-back drafts, right? Late, like 5, 6 rounds, something like that. And they'd helped Detroit win 2 more cups. So Detroit made the playoffs in 25 consecutive years. They made the playoffs, and a huge part of that was because they drafted Lidstrom and Fedorov mid rounds, and then a decade later, Zetterberg and Datsuk, and there were others like Holmstrom and such that, you know, that were solid picks, but it was all their great runs would not have happened without those teams having some really hitting on some mid-round picks. And Montreal, I think, well, we'll have a look here just at a few of them. Okay. Lane Hutson. This is all of their upsides, okay? Lane Hutson, 62nd overall. He's already a top pairing left defense. I don't think you can argue that, or right defense, whatever. Top pairing defenseman, period. Playing 25, 26 minutes a game. Has the most assists of any defenseman in this calendar year, 62. So, without a doubt, top pairing lefty, and also has proved that he can defend a lot better than a lot of people thought. Adam Engstrom, I think his upside is anywhere from number 4 to number 6 lefty, second or third pairing left defenseman who can also play on the right side too. So number 4 to number 6. I mean, if everything fell into place, maybe a number 3, but anywhere from your 4th defenseman to your 6th defenseman in your lineup. He's looked solid since he joined the club, and he already looks better than Arbor and Jaden Struble, and maybe perhaps even Carrier, arguably so far. So at 92nd overall, they get Engstrom. Those two from the same draft, 62 and 92. A first pairing defenseman and another one that may be a second pairing left defense. Maybe it won't be in Montreal, but that's his upside. Jacob Fowler, 69th overall, so third round pick. His upside is starting goalie. That's fair to say. He's already played. I think he's probably the first goalie from his draft class to play, and he's not far off. If he's not up for good right now, it won't be long. If he ends up going back to the HL this year, it'll only be for a year. He'll be back in nets next year, and I'd say within a couple of years, a bona fide NHL starter, and he could be an elite one. We'll see, but there haven't been many goalies more touted than him from the last 5 drafts. 69th overall, another steal. Hayden Papanicus. I had a look at him. I've got a video that I'm going to be putting up on him over the next couple days. 5-point. It's a video of his 5-point game, and he was outstanding. This kid's getting over mononucleosis pretty quickly here. He's got he has his skills for, like, his skating and size and shot are all major pluses. There's he's also got an edge to his game. He just needs to find consistency. I think it's maturing, figuring out how to play consistently, but it looks like that's coming. And this game that I scouted, he was dominant with his 2 goals and 3 assists against Regina. And you'll enjoy that video. I'll be putting it up shortly, but he has third line center upside. I think his floor is fourth line center, but third line center would be his upside. An outside chance to second line center, but I think ideally on a really good team, the hope would be that he could center one of the bottom 2 lines, but bring size, goals, physicality, and two-way play. Now, 81st overall, Bryce Pickford. He looks like he could be anywhere from a number 3 to number 5. Actually, it says LD, but it's right D. He's the right defenseman, obviously. Anywhere from a 3 to 5, I think, is his upside. Maybe he's a 6 down the road, but I'm telling you, he's got fantastic goal scoring ability. I think he'll score goals on power play in the NHL. I've not seen a prospect with a better shot than him since I started scouting. None. And that goes for forwards, that goes for defense. But it goes certainly on defense. Maybe you can make an argument for someone like Bedard, but this kid, his shot is so accurate. It's hard. The release is fantastic. I've never seen someone with a more accurate shot than Bryce Pickford, and I mean it's a major reason why he's setting records and could become the first WHL defenseman to crack 50 goals in a season, which is incredible. I think he's on pace for 55 or something nuts like that. Just he could set the CHL record for goals by a defenseman this year. So I Darren said not sure who's even in the conversation. For those who drafted better, I'd give them 11 out of 10. Thanks, Darren. Well, that's high praise from somebody that scouts and follows the draft. So let's have a look at their drafts here. Now 22 here's 22 and 23. Okay, now Slav obviously was a great pick. He's already got 131 points, leads all players from his draft class. Owen Beck, he's played 20 games now. He's looking like he's going to be a solid bottom six player in this league. Bring a lot of different elements to the game. As looked this time in his NHL edition, he's not looked out of place at all. He might be here to stay. Been really impressed by him this time around. Solid prospect. Lane Hudson, well, we know all about Lane. Vinny Rohrer, he's kind of had a little bit of a dip, but I mean, for a mid-third round pick, he's been pretty solid. Won everything over in Switzerland the last couple of years, and he's young, still developing. Solid pick in the third round. Adam Engstrom, talked about him, looking great. Jared Davidson, up in the NHL right now. One of the best goal scorers in the AHL for a fifth round pick. Sorry. You can't ask for any more. How many kids in the fifth round play 10 plus games in the NHL? And there'll be more. He's a heart and soul player. So you look at that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that are already playing in the NHL. Anytime you get more than 2, it's considered a successful draft. So just a fantastic draft. I don't think anyone's had. It'd be hard to argue that anybody had a better draft than the Canadiens did in 2022. I think it's pretty safe to say theirs was the best. Now you have a look here and 2023 Reinbacher. Well, it's a wait and see, right, on Reinbacher, but I'm thoroughly impressed, and I think he's a top 2 right defenseman all day. And honestly believe someday he'll be the top pairing right D on the Canadiens. Just going to need to be patient with him, but he's got all the tools, the size, the physicality, the smarts, the poise, good shot, really good one-on-one defender, good length, just an all-around solid minute munching NHL defenseman is what he's going to be. And the Canadiens needed that, and they will. They want to win at playoff time down the road, they will. But considering that their next pick wasn't until 69, to get Jacob Fowler, just an excellent pick at that point. Then Florian Jacki, 4th round. Well, he's already gotten a look in the NHL. Didn't look out of place. Brings a physical element. He could have almost been in that list of, I'd certainly put him down as a mid-round guy that has 4th. 4th line, certainly has 4th line capabilities in the NHL and bring a physical element, could score some goals. He did something last year, unicorn, right? He was a unicorn. He first player since Zenon Konopka to, I forget the exact, but 25 goals and 180 penalty minutes, I think it was. So a rare specimen. Will drop the gloves against anyone. I mean, he fought Nick Delorier in the preseason. He's got balls, so you gotta like him. Bogdan Konishkov, hey, kid's been worn a letter in the KHL since he was 20. Has played 22 plus minutes a game since he was 20 in the KHL on defense. I don't know if he'll play in Montreal, but there's certainly NHL potential with him. He's a solid defender. Very good defensively, can chip in the odd point. Just a really good skater, really smart. Almost like an undersized Markov, but without the offense. Very, very underrated player. Miller, goalie. Well, all he's done is go into Denver, and he the goalie of the week twice in a row, rookie of the week, rookie of the month, goaltender of the month. He's been fantastic as a freshman in college. So you can't ask for any more than that for what, a 5th round pick, 4th round pick. I'll take it. Teammate in Denver, Sam Harris, 5th round. He's been one of the best goal scorers in college hockey. I mean, 5th round pick. Yeah, he's a long shot to ever make it, but at worst, I think he'll be a goal producer in the AHL. And again, when you're looking at 5th round, that's solid value, right? Volokin. Hardly talk about Volokin, but he's playing in the VHL, and he's got a .947 save percentage, which is just crazy. I don't think he's let in more than 2 goals, and I don't know if it's been all season, but something like that. Just his stats are gaudy, and who knows with these Russian guys, right? I mean, once upon a time, you heard about this mid-round pick, Shesterkin. It sounded, well, he's supposed to be really good. Oh yeah. Well, we'll see when he gets to the NHL. Then we really saw when he got to the NHL. Actually, they had Georgiev and Shesterkin, and they both came in, both made the NHL. And obviously, Shesterkin's been the man, but you don't know till Volokin, if he comes over. Who knows? He might be a friggin' he might be a star goalie for all we know. He's certainly putting up the stats anyway. That's half the battle, right? Stop the friggin' puck, take it from there. I've looked at him, and I think he's a solid prospect, but I'm no goalie expert. Maybe Darren can puck bunker there if he's. I don't know if he's seen Volokin the last couple of years, but certainly, if he wants to offer his opinion. What I will say is one of the reasons why his save percentage and goals against are so great is he's played in front of really good defenses, both in junior before this and now in the VHL, and he doesn't face a lot of high quality shots, but he stops them, and that's the most important thing with goalies as far as I'm concerned. But then 6th round, Philip Eriksson. And that's my most underrated Habs prospect. All he did was step into the SHL on the league champion at 20 years of age to start the year. And he was leading the SHL in scoring at one point at the start of the season. Cooled off a bit, but still playing big minutes, playing well. and really smart, two-way, versatile. He can play wing, he can play center. Uh, in a lot of ways, similar to Roar, but I think he's actually jumped ahead of him, in my opinion. Uh, but how many Swedes picked sixth round are doing better than him from any of these draft classes? Uh, it, very rare. So he's a great pick. Like none of these picks were poor. They're all playing well. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Luke Mittelstadt having a breakout year on defense. Minnesota, he's really solid. He's become a solid left defenseman. He'll never play for the Canadiens, but real solid. So that's just 2 drafts. All kinds of talent, right? I mean, they're not. I wouldn't say that they'll have the best draft of any club from 2023, but bear in mind they had 2 picks in the top 100, right? And value-wise, excellent draft as well, I think. And you get to excuse me, you get to 20. We'll look at the bottom one, 2024. Kid named Demidov. I don't know. I'm not sure about you, but he seems to have some potential, don't you think? On pace for about 60 points as a rookie. Canadiens could well have 2 back-to-back rookies that score 60 points. Likely going to have back-to-back rookies that are finalists for the Calder. Obviously, it'd be nice if they got back-to-back Calder winners, and it would be the first time in Montreal Canadiens history. But I'd have to say that Schaefer, Schaefer's going to be hard to beat for Rookie of the Year. But Schaefer was the first overall pick too, right? And Demi, it's safe to say, is living up to his billing as a top 5 pick. He's been outstanding. Then 21, Michael Hage. Well, playing top 2 center role for Canada's Olympic team. You can't argue about that. That's he's reached another level this year. He's at the top of the scoring race in college hockey, and he's only a sophomore. Good size, really good size skating combination. Smart, very skilled. He's got second line center upside, second line upside. Maybe it's wing, but I'd say middle line forward. I think at worst, right? Maybe third line winger would be his floor, and second line center would be his ceiling. Yeah, I mean, hey, anytime after 20, you get a player that fits in that's very good. And on some teams, you might say, well, Frig, he could be the second line center. They'd have him slotted as their future second line center for sure. Just Montreal's got a lot of, well, just from these drafts alone, they got a lot of talent and a lot of depth. But it's because they've built up such a stock that he's not even higher rated. Koivu, hey, Saku's son, made a step this year, playing at the World Juniors. We'll get to see. I think he'll probably play a top 6 role because he's a regular in Liga, and typically if you're a teenager in Finland playing regularly in Liga, you'll probably have a pretty significant role at the World Juniors. I think he probably plays top 6 somewhere. I don't know if it'll be wing or center, but he's. It's hard for a teenager to play in Liga. I think we'll get a better feel for his potential watching him at the World Juniors here. I'll be keeping a really close eye on him here, and I'll have a better feel for his NHL upside based on this upcoming tournament. Looking forward to it. New Year's Eve, I guess they're playing Canada. That'll be a good test for him. And then Logan Sawyer, hey, comes out of the BCHL. All he's done is he's leading Providence, which is one of the better teams in college hockey, leading them in scoring this year. Very skilled, smart. I did a video last week. You might want to check it out if you're curious about him and you didn't see it. I did a podcast dedicated to him. He's a good prospect. Will he make the Canadiens someday? Well, when you look at all these other picks, right, and all the guys that are already on the team, it's probably a long shot. But do I think he has NHL upside? If his skating improves, yeah, the skill and smarts are there for him to one day win an NHL job someday. Might be a few years away, but you can't ask for much more than that from a somebody picked in the 70s. I mean, that's a long shot, right? 78. Owen Protz. He was an invite to Canada's World Junior Camp this summer. So, if they'd have been taking 10 to 12 players, he was probably the guy. Him and Pickford were probably the next two guys on their list to be invites to the camp. And both of them, obviously didn't get picked, but Brantford's got a great team this year, and one of the main reasons is Protz. When he got traded there from Sudbury, he started playing 22 minutes a game. Coach loved him, and he plays all situations, minute muncher, but especially shutdown situations. Maybe the best hitter in the OHL. Loves the physicality. I've put up videos. You can find them on this YouTube channel, Owen Protz Hits, and they're entertaining, fun to watch. You like that physical part of his game, and I've talked to NHL scouts since that think this kid has a legitimate shot of playing in the NHL after a few years of seasoning in the AHL. There's elements to his game that will be attractive to NHL clubs on a third pairing down the road. So will it be Montreal? That, again, they're pretty loaded with young talent, right? And it might be a long shot, but never say never. Certainly, the main thing is that these are all assets, and if they don't play in Montreal, it doesn't mean that they can't be traded in the future to maybe fill a hole elsewhere. But fourth round pick, excellent. Outside of the top 100, to get a kid that may play in the NHL has I'd say a 50% chance. That's great, and he brings certain elements, right? Like one of the more physical defensemen to be drafted in the past 5 years, and that alone, if you have an elite quality to your game, and for him it's his physicality, that always gives you a fighting chance of someday winning an NHL job. Tyler Thorpe, well, fifth round. That to me is one of the best value picks. There's been a lot of them here, but really love that value, fifth round. I think he plays in the NHL down the road. Size skating combo is very good. Like he's 6'5" and skates pretty well. He's gonna have to keep improving his first step. Like any 20-year-old 6'5" kid, they all have to keep getting quicker. But once he's going, really good, powerful skater, physical edge, smart, got a really good shot. He scored his first pro goal the other day. I think he has 4 points in his last 6 games after 2 in his first 24 or something like that. But you see, just like Jared Davidson, where it was slow for him his first year, get accustomed to the AHL, get accustomed to the pace. But Thorpe's getting better by the week. And I think next year in the AHL. Tyler Thorpe is one of the more noteworthy power forwards, and within 2 years, he's knocking on the door to be. I see a future fourth line of Papanicus centering Jackeye and Thorpe, and to me, it's kind of like the reincarnation of the Nikawa, Colasar, Ryan Reeves fourth line that used to crash and bang and soften up defenses for the other three lines for Vegas back in the day. But the Torpedo, really like him. I think I think he's a hell of a pick at in the fifth round, and I think he'll play in the NHL someday. Mikas Vekvanags, yeah, gotta say that's one that maybe I mean, the next three there. Actually, Merrill's come into college and played okay this year. The goalie, well, hey, you can't hit them all. I don't think he's an NHL prospect, but hey, Latvian goalie, fifth round. They saw something they liked, and okay, so there's one pick out of all of the ones we've gone through so far that I'm not crazy about. Ben Merrill, I don't think his skating will ever be good enough to play, but he's another. They drafted another big guy with long-term upside. We'll see where he's at in 3 years. Canine took a flyer on the kid. I actually had him ranked. He was a bit of a dark horse Russian. Lots of skill, but he hasn't really put it together yet. For me, out of those last four picks, Bergquist is the best. Ended up playing at the World Juniors actually last year. Anytime a seventh round pick from Sweden plays in the World Juniors, that's pretty impressive. He's a solid prospect. Like, he's going to be a regular in the SHL, and for a seventh round pick, that's decent. A good pick in the seventh round. Will he play for the Habs? No, probably not. But he turned into a really solid pick, considering he was drafted 224th overall. Now let's get to this year's draft. Jarosky. Well, Puck Bunker might like him too. Hey, Darren. Hey, what can you say? He scored another goal. He's on pace to be the highest scoring 18-year-old ever in Russian KHL history. Better than a lot of notable players, including Michkov. Hey, he's playing center, which, I mean, if NHL teams had known last year that this kid would be playing regularly in the KHL at center the year after he was drafted, do you not think that he would have gone top 20? I would say it's almost like, yeah, it's a guarantee that he would have gone top 20. Maybe top 15. He's got that much talent. Maybe top 10 talent. The Canadiens got themselves a steal, I do believe, with this kid in the second round. Just, maybe not of the magnitude of Hudson in the second round, and considering that it was at the start of the second round and not the end like Hudson, but one of the better second round draft picks, I think, like early returns anyway, of the past 4 years. Hudson is the best second round pick of the past 4 years. This kid's not far behind. He'd have to be in the top 5 discussion for second round picks. I do believe at this point, but I know it's early. But he's going to play in the NHL. He's versatile, obviously. Might be a second line center someday in the NHL. Third line center might be. I think second line is definitely realistic for him, either on the wing or at center at some point when he reaches his peak. The skill is there. So, you know, you can get us on a contender having a kid that might play second line center for you and produce, getting that in the second round, it's fantastic. Papanicus, well, I've already discussed what I think of him. I think third line center, fourth line center, at worst, a fourth line winger, but I think he'll play in the NHL and be a contributor. The only thing, maybe if he doesn't become more consistent, maybe he doesn't make it. But geez, there's just too many tools there. The size, skating combo, the shot are all too enticing not to. I think he puts it all together. I've interviewed his coach. He loves him. He thinks he's got second line center upside ultimately in the NHL. I think that might be a little much, but he figures third line for sure. Third line NHL center upside. Again, getting that in the third round. There's a lot of NHL third line centers that were picked in the 20s. So, and size, physical package, you can score some goals. If you did a redraft today, I think Papanicus goes anywhere from 35 to 50 somewhere. So get him in the third round. Solid job. Bryce Pickford. Frig. What, I mean, you can go back if you want and look at I featured him about 5 times in the past month. It's just unbelievable what he's doing. He has a 6-game goal scoring streak. He had a 5-game multi-goal scoring streak, which has to be a record, for a defenseman. It would be a record in the NHL, but it has to be a record in junior too. And what was even more crazy was he had 5 straight game-winning goals. 5 consecutive games, he got the game winner. And if the other team would have scored one more goal last game, would have been 6 in a row. He got the insurance goal. He got the 5th, and they won. The other team got 3. Or he'd have had 6 straight game-winning goals, which nobody in the NHL has ever done that. One guy, Newsy Lalone, 1920s, did it. A forward did it in the NHL. 5 straight game-winning goals. It's got to be a record in junior too. It's phenomenal. I asked Ray Ferraro, who scored 90 some, in his best year, if he didn't get back to me, but I asked him if he ever scored 5 straight game-winning goals on his record tear back in the day. Anyways, it's just phenomenal what he's doing. Should have been at the World Juniors, but we've been down that road and don't need to talk about it anymore. Absolute steal, I think at 81 should have been picked anywhere from like 25 to 40 if you did a redraft today. I think he's just he's been phenomenal. He's the captain of Medicine Hat. They're on quite a streak, but it's all him. He does it all. Leading the WHL in goal scoring as a defenseman, phenomenal. So just an absolute steal of a pick. Radkov, I can't say that I've watched him a heck of a lot this year. The jury remains out on Radkov at this point, but obviously they liked him quite a bit, and he was fairly highly touted. LJ Mooney, hey, why not, right? 113th overall. Hey, it's a size thing with him. That's the only thing. If he was 5'10", he'd have been a top 40 pick. One of the fastest players in the draft class, maybe one of the top 3 fastest players from the draft class. He's just friggin' buzzsaw. Um, will he make the Habs someday? I don't know. It's going to be tough. He almost has to be top 6, and they're just so loaded that it'll be a tough go for him. But do I think he's got NHL upside? Yeah, I do. With that speed and playmaking and edges, it's not just the speed, it's the edges. Just a fantastic skater. Absolutely. NHL skater all day. And that gives you a chance right there. So, was he worth a flyer outside of the top 100? Absolutely. That's a hell of a pick. He should have been picked no worse than like the 70s. Personally, I think, or early third round, even the 60s at worst. And to get him at 113, fantastic value for the Canadiens. Cornwall. Oh. I had another look. He hasn't been facing a pile of shots in Cornell, but all the kid's doing is stopping pucks. Kind of like the kid, the Volokin kid, but NCAA. Like rarely. Last game he gave up 4, but he had been giving up 1-2 goals every game. Really great save percentage. And this is a kid that was playing for the Truro Bearcats this time last year, right? Maritime Tier 2 junior. Came up the end of the year in the queue, looked good, but it was a small sample size. Canadiens took a flyer on him. He goes into college, and he's just been fantastic. I like a lot. Again, I'm no goalie expert, but I like what I see from him. He's like, he looks like a legitimate goalie prospect. So the Canadiens are loaded with good young goaltending. The best, like the deepest group of young goaltenders that they've had in recent memory. So again, another fifth round pick, excellent value. Handel, he's again, I had him like third or fourth round pick, and that's probably, if you did a redraft, you'd consider that. But he's he's a nice skater, decent junior player from Germany. I guess is he eligible for the? I guess he might be playing this year at the World Juniors too, right? Germany there. I haven't even been paying attention to it, but Handel's a decent player. McNeil, tough kid, playing in Kitchener, getting a bigger role this year. Tough physical defenseman. Vieg, hey, he stepped in, and for a 7th round guy, looked solid in college, and playing half decent too. So again, the Canadiens, considering that their first pick was not till the 2nd round, value wise, I really like. You could make the argument Zerowski top 15, 20, Pickford maybe end of the first, Papanicus top 40, and considering none of those guys were picked in the first round, very good value, very good drafting once again. So all in all, the last 4 years, I didn't study every other club's list, but I'd be hard pressed to find one. Like, I did look at some, and I didn't see anybody that I thought did better drafting overall than the Canadiens. There's quality, quantity, depth, more steals, more solid picks mid to late rounds than any other team. And that's where you make or break a lot of drafts, is the ability to pick kids outside of the top 40 that become NHLers or have the potential to be NHLers. So Marty and Bobrov seem to, oil and water or whatever, but it works, right? They're different personalities, different styles. Bobrov, is the librarian, and Marty's the workhorse, right? One really relies on the eye test completely, and the other, is highly analytical and gets as much information as possible in all forms. On top of what he does as far as scouting, you know, doing the eye test. But Marty's a little more old school, and Nick's a little more modern, scout. It makes a great combination, and you can't argue with the results. I think right now, and there might be some biases there because I don't know other draft classes as well as I know the Habs, but certainly from my viewpoint and having watched these guys a lot, I think the Canadiens drafting in the past 4 years under Hughes and Gorton is right at the top of the NHL. So it bodes well for the Canadiens. They've got a the youngest team in the league. They're gonna stay young over the next 3-4 years because you see all that talent that I was showing you there. There's gonna be players from each of those drafts that are gonna be coming in. It's good for the cap because they'll be on entry level contracts, so it will help in that regard. It's good. I like young talent coming in. You can't beat the energy and enthusiasm. It helps a team. It boosts a team, and the future is indeed bright in Montreal. All right, that's my look at Canadiens drafts. Let's see here. I'll go to a few comments here from people. I need a drink. Ice cold water. Doing a live Montreal Forum with Liam tomorrow at 11 a.m. I really hope you can join us because he is going to be interviewing Brian Skrudland. Yes, the Brian Skrudland. Any Habs fan over the age of 50 would know Brian Screwy quite fondly because, hey, if it wasn't for Screwy, the Habs probably don't win the Cup in '86. He if you remember, 9 seconds. Does 9 seconds ring a bell? He scored the fastest goal in NHL overtime history. And it kind of was the death knell for Calgary and Montreal. Montreal went on to win the Cup that year, and Skrudland was a huge part of that. But a real character. He's part of the Legends of Hockey, and Liam tours with him all the time. Talked him into doing an interview tomorrow. It'll be 9 a.m. in Calgary, so bright and early for him. But he's going to. I'll be producing the show for Liam, and Liam, ask great questions, and there'll be some great quotes and memories from Screwy and the Stanley Cup championship in '86. So I hope you can tune in tomorrow morning to the interview with Brian Skrudland. It'll be live. We'll have the live chat on, and maybe ask a couple of questions, throw a couple of comments in there. Maybe Liam. I told Liam, hey, turn on your comments. He didn't. Liam's old school, right? He didn't know that. Oh, there's comments from people. Yeah, The last show that he did was live, and he never noticed any of the comments. So and then I said, "Did you not see the ones that I put up on the screen?" No, I was looking at the camera. Oh, okay. Well, uh, anyway, he'll have a better idea tomorrow during the live show that, hey, there's people that are making comments, and to have a look at it, and if there's any good questions there, he'll ask Screwy a couple from people that are tuning in and want to ask Screwy a couple of questions. So I'm really looking forward to that. He's had on Cornway, he's had on Carbonneau, he's had on Robinson. Next up, Brian Scrutland. As Darren said, they're not sure who's even in this conversation for who's drafted better. I give him 11 out of 10. Well, there you go. So I'm not just me. That's coming from a Sens fan. So appreciate that. I agree on the top-notch drafting, but they coupled that with solid development department. Well, yeah, a little bit, but I mean, a lot of these guys are developing, like how much have they developed Bryce Pickford or Alex Jarofsky, or I can name quite a few. How much say did they have in the development of Lane Hudson before he came, or was it the Boston U? How many of these guys have been AHL? Like Slav didn't play in the AHL, Hudson didn't play in the AHL. You know what I mean? So, yeah, some of it's development, but you got to draft the good players. You can develop till the cows come home. If the talent's not there or it's not a good pick, it's you're not going to develop squat. Too bad Pickford didn't get picked for Team Canada. Yeah, well, we talked about that. I've talked about that a fair bit. Yeah, I agree. A little late to the party. Good evening, just the same. Oh, you're not too late. 9:56. Oh, there weren't too many comments there. Jack-Eye, Thorpe, and Doc would be a good fourth line. Doc? Jeez, eh? Third overall pick. Imagine if he ends up being a fourth liner. Excuse me one sec. I don't know. I kind of hope that Doc's still got still going to be a good third liner, but yeah, maybe someday. Did you have a chance to watch Eriksson this year? Yes, I did. Like him a lot. My most underrated prospect. Rick asked me on our Sunday show, which players flying under the radar? Philip Eriksson. I've profiled him a few times on our Sunday shows, Wolfie. Sammy, I still think Demidov takes it this year. He's been showing lots of. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta say that Schaefer's a special kid, man. Like could be franchise defenseman. No, I do think that Demidov's going to get better, but I think Schaefer's just going to keep getting better too. Don't forget he missed friggin' all of last year. Look what he's doing. It's crazy. He's going to come back. He may play at the Olympics, Schaefer. He's got to be – Demi's got to be the and even Wallstedt's in the conversation. That kid's been just unbelievable. Chris Van Dyke. Hey, there's a new name. Christopher. We've been quite unlucky in our draft fortune since Lafleur until Demidov and Hudson. As a Habs fan who has experienced 18 of our 24 cups, it's been difficult watching our poor decision-making. Same scouts, different results. Well, it's not all the same scouts. I mean, Bobrov's not the same scout. right? And I'm sorry, but we like to shit on Timmins and Bergevin, but they drafted quite well their last few years. The half of the team that you see right now wouldn't be uh, wouldn't be part of this, like Dovish and Cappy, Suzuki wouldn't be here. Caulfield, Gooley, I can go on and on. Like they did draft actually quite well at the end, and I don't want to get into the because I disagree that they weren't drafting well uh, before these guys, or they wouldn't even be in the position they're in right now. Yeah, Price was a pretty good pick. Yeah, I'd say Subban was a pretty good pick. McDonough was a pretty good pick. Pacioretty. I can keep going on and on. Haven't watched Volokin really at all, but 945 and pro is nothing to sneeze at. They do have a type in net though. I think Fowler is the smallest guy they've taken. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Let's talk about, there always has to be a negative aspect. Like this is all good. So let's not talk about what, like let's have the glass half full here, okay? I don't want to get it we always end up whining about past drafts and stuff, and I just just stop, please. I don't want to read it if it's okay with you, because I don't agree with it, first of all, and it's just these are the salad days. Let's just enjoy it. Let's not fuck the negative, right? Negative's gone. Let's be positive and let's enjoy the future and the present here. If you don't mind, I find Habs fans can be far too negative, and now's the time. You're preaching to the choir here. I've been a Hab fan for 45, 50 years, right? Or actually more than that. I was there in the Red Jewel years. I was there for the friggin' picks from Seattle every friggin' draft that were busts. Bilodeau and Vallis, and I remember them all. So yeah, let's just be grateful for how friggin' promising things are now, and rock and roll. Waiting impatiently for number 25. I'll be flying from Vancouver to Montreal for the obligatory riot on St. Catherine. There you go. Lots of good picks beside Price. We just traded them all. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'll just skip over a few of these because I'm just going to get pissed off. They got a first round talent in round 2. Not happy as a Sets fan. Yeah. They got a top 10 talent with 2 second round picks, very crafty by Hugo and the scouting staff. They were one of the only teams that had good scouting in the KHL during pandemic. I also think Bobrov is one of the most connected people to scout rookies in the KHL. Yeah. No, Bobrov has his connections for sure, and it came in handy when they got although it didn't take a rocket scientist to pick Demidov at 5. I had him too, right? I didn't have to get all the background that Bobrov gets on Demidov. That one was a no-brainer. And I think a lot of teams had Jurowski in the first round, so he kind of fell into their laps too. But it was good of the Canadiens to move up and to get him. I thought that was smart. Cornway actually intrigues me more than Radkov. Yeah, me too. After viewing him recently, Cornway might not be as athletic, but he's big, sound, and tracks the play well. As a rookie in the NCAA, that's a good sign. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I've actually looked more at Cornway than Radkoff this year, but yeah, yeah, I think the Canadians got a really good value in the fifth round. Pickford will eventually move ahead of Dobson, no doubt in my mind. Well, I don't know about the no doubt in my mind. Dobson, we'll see. That's why I say 3 to 5, right? Um, Bob Ross's dad is an executive with Ska. Yes, he is. Very, very talented guy for hockey. We're lucky to have him. Yeah, well, remember when the Reinbacher pick was made in the Slav right after Reinbacher was, he had all these busts. He can't draft Euros. Da, da, da. I'm glad that narrative finally went away. People are appreciating. He's evolved as a scout. We all do. I mean, you know, you don't just start scouting and you're a friggin' expert. You gotta have hits and misses to evolve. You gotta learn from your mistakes. You know, uh, for good or bad, Bob Red probably is the reason we haven't taken Michkov. Well, hey, there were a lot of teams that weren't taking Michkov. Trust me on that. Like Arizona could have taken him, right? With, Utah now, but they took another Russian instead of him, right? So that tells you right there that like 6 teams passed on him. So, um, you know, he's not a Marty Lapointe. He wasn't a Marty Lapointe type pick, anyways. Too. I don't think if Bob Rob wasn't there, I have a hard time believing that he would have been Marty's pick anyway. Just not a Martin Lapointe type player. Marty likes competitiveness. It's like right at the top of his wish list when it comes to a prospect. And competitiveness, isn't necessarily Michkov's trademark. Yeah, Cornway. Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know if he's next Cornway, but he'd be pretty good. Francois Reinbacher over Michkov all day, every day. Well, I think he's better for the Canadiens too. Don't forget they have Caulfield, right? Did you really want 2 5'10" wingers in your top 6? Not ideally. You really don't. You don't want a 5'7" and a 5'10". Like Montreal's top line would not have been Michkov, Caulfield, and Suzuki. It just didn't. And that's what you try to do. You try to project, right? It just didn't. It wasn't going to happen. So, do you take a guy that would have been on your second line on the wing at best, or do you take a guy that you think was going to be your, at worst, second pairing right defenseman? Second line winger, second pairing right defenseman, more value in the right defenseman. And especially when they projected Reinbacher to be number 1 right defenseman. Do you know any team that would draft a winger that you would slot into your second line over a defenseman that you would slot into your top pair on the right? No. Cornway is one of the best sleepers in my opinion. Very quick kid. Yepper. Olin Protz hits good, but I don't see an NHL player. Yeah, well, NHL scouts do, Zeffel, so I don't like to make brash judgments like that. I don't know if he'll be on the Habs, but there's NHL potential there. he's going to have to keep improving, but he has qualities that you want in a shutdown third pairing defenseman. That's why Jackie's playing in the NHL. I haven't watched everybody, but he's definitely better than a bunch of guys that went ahead of him. Oh yeah. Oh, see now, Pierre. So one guy, guys, like, can you just? Do you have to be so emphatic one way or the other? Like, I'm freaking scouted, and I don't say, oh, I see a player all day, or I see a guy that'll never play. Like, just kind of balance it out a bit there, guys. Maybe he'll play in the NHL. Maybe he won't. Sheldon says it perfectly. Way too early, Zeph, and way too early, Pierre. Both of you. Only 30 people on here right now. Okay. If the cupboards are full, do you think the Habs can pull off a big trade or wait for July 1? Yeah. It'll depend on where they are in the standings there for George. I think they can pull off a big trade, but if they're in the running, if the right piece comes along, he's available, yes, go for it. All right, the prots back and forth. I'm just going to skip over that. I always wonder why teams are moving up, if not knowing draft lists of other teams. Is it possible Zurowski told Habs, these teams interviewed me, but I'd like to play with you? No, I don't think. No. The reason he lasted till the second round is because he's freaking. No team's got to go see him live. He's Russian. That's the main reason. They knew where about H would be drafted in Zurowski as well. That's why they moved up. Oh, Zurowski was going. He was going anytime. Yeah. He was going at any point there, guys. At that point. Skrudland was a winner. Oh, man. Yeah. And, that's back in the day, too, where you're a fairly young fan, and you're still figuring out necessarily, like I'm thinking, oh, Norm Dupont can't beat this guy out. Look at the stats. Look at the goal-scoring ability of him, right? And Brian Skrudland ends up beating him out for a spot. Yeah, because he's freaking all around, rugged, two-way, complete game, competitive, smart. It's kind of like, everybody with, there's no way the captain will be a center ahead of Zurowski or Hage. Well, yeah, there's a decent chance that he'll be the second line center, for the foreseeable future here, because he brings elements that you need in a center that's going up against other teams' top lines. Skill is great, but center it's a different animal. You have to be good defensively, smart, responsible, competitive, two-way, and that's Kapanen in a nutshell. So, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. Pretty good prospect report. Lots of good information. Thanks, buddy. Hard-nosed player. Oh, Screwy. Yeah, he was old school. Really good. Danico for props? I wish. He can't skate like Danico could. Hage draft was quite random because they did the trade to move up before the draft. But Zurowski, they really seemed sure which team was going to pick him. Yeah. Well, Bobrov does a lot of the. Yeah, he does a lot of. He does a pile of that. Schaefer all day. Yeah, I mean, I love Demi, but let's be realistic. And also the fact that he's only 18. I think, you know, they do factor that in. Maybe if you're not even supposed to, but to step in at his age, a year younger, it's more impressive, right? I mean, Demi just turned 20. This kid's still 18, for Christ's sake. It's tough. Doc on the fourth line? Yeah, yeah. Bergevin was good on the second round drafts, but he did. All right. No, he didn't. Yeah. Caulfield and Gooley were horrible first round picks, for sure. Mayu ended up getting them both out. 18 years old is literally insane, isn't it, though? Ain't it? Yeah, what's in the past, in the past. Yep. And hey, again, if they'd have fucking had fantastic drafts every year, guess what? They wouldn't have Demidovs laughing. So things happen for a reason, right? Don't dwell on the past. Who was the high school defenseman who totally busted? Oh, here we go. We're revisiting, eh? David Fisher. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, here's Peter Fishwick's David Fisher, yeah. Apple Valley High School. I remember it well. It's like, the hell did they pick him for? Trying to think, what was that the Claude Giroux draft? I really wanted them to take Giroux. I think it was that one. I'm just gonna double check. I remember Scout saying this guy is a friggin' knob. He thought he was just the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, that was. And of course, draft expert me at the time, right? Why did they pass on Giroux? I saw Giroux playing in Hull, and I knew how good he was, and yeah, that was maybe the worst pick of those. He didn't. I don't think he even cracked the ECHL. But anyway, enough about that. I knew the Habs were going to pick Reinbacher fourth. I had a feeling. Yeah, they might have taken him fourth. Michkov has tons of talent, but I don't think he would fit in the locker room. Yeah, I don't know if he'd fit through the doorway here. He's pretty hefty this year. Top pairing right hand shots are gold. Yep, that there. Trade deadline before holidays is tonight. I'd be surprised we see any action. Well, no, we're not going to see it. Yeah. We could use Screws. Yeah. Be nice to have a Screwdlin in the lineup right now. Second line center spot is Caps to lose at this point. I think so. Till further notice, I wish people could ask me, are they going to trade for a true second line center? I've been impressed with Jack Eye's play in recent game. How about you? Hey, Michael Roberts. Thanks for joining the chat here. By the way, if you're watching on X, come on in, ask a few questions. The young lad isn't home yet, so I've got a few minutes here yet that I can spare. Yeah. Arbor's been playing better of late. He looks like he's looked better than Struble lately. I'll give him that for sure. Saw an article today about his little brother. Yeah, he's going to be a good one too. Well, the old man, eh? They just like Gallagher's old man, got these guys probably nutritionists when they're like 8, eating right, working out, little machines, right? Schaefer has the potential to win multiple Norrises. Yeah, he's something else. He really is. The Habs are in a good spot right now for all the injuries the team has gone through. Agreed. Francois, there's a boy from Brandon who's ranked #1 in North America. Celebrini is ranked #6. They are 2012, so way too early right now. Cole Nickel scored a goal in his first call-up. Yeah, well, there's always kids that are lighting it up when they're young like that. I remember a kid doing an article. I was a reporter for Pembroke, Ontario newspaper, and there was a kid from Cobden who was scoring like 8 goals, 4 to 8 goals a game. You know, thought he was going to be the next one. The Valley hadn't had a star for quite a while, and he ended up just being a good junior. You know, never quite made it, but always exciting to see these kids, promising kids, at a young age. Today, they're doing a better job of developing them too. If they're that talented when they're that young, they typically do make it now. Like we're going back 30, 40 years. All right, I think the young lad might be home here. Again, Screwy tomorrow, 11 a.m. I'm going to get a flyer up here. But if you can tune in for that one, leave a few okay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see the last line, Sheldon. Yeah, it's too early for sure. Just like it's too early for Protz to either be a star or a bust. You know, you don't know. I just, you know, you got to be careful with the just how emphatic you are one way or the other. I find because you don't know what the future holds, right? I think Protz has NHL potential, but there's also a possibility he may never play a game in the NHL. Certainly, we'll have to keep developing. He'll have to get better puck moving, quicker decisions, better with the puck, better, improve his skating. So there's work to be done, but you like the physical package and the competitive edge that he's got, and he's pretty smart, pretty dependable. So, does he make the Canadiens someday? I think it's a long shot, but yeah, there could be I hope there's an NHL career for him. We interviewed him last year on me and Shane, and he's quite a character. Big Johnny Cash fan. All right, guys. Look, 11 a.m. tomorrow, Screwlin, and then tomorrow night after the game, I'll do a post game. I'll do a post game with. I'm not sure who's going to come on with me, but I imagine I'll be able to rustle up either maybe Liam, but definitely before you leave, hit the like and subscribe button. Yeah. I'm surprised that ranking for 13-year-olds. Oh, geez. Yeah, really, eh? Fort George, hey, threw me a $5. Thank you, my friend. This was fun to do. And Pierre, it's all good, buddy. Some good content, some good comments as usual. Sheldon, you're all, and Francois, Mark, you guys always always have good stuff. Okay, it sounds like the young lad's home. So I'll just couple more items here, and then I'll wrap it up. When these Habs are ready to be serious cup contenders, do you think they'll need more toughness on the blue line for scrums in front of the net and to make opponents pay the price? Yeah, which is why maybe Protz, someday is on the third pairing, as Pierre's been, is saying. Puck Bunker, enjoyed the discussion. Have a good evening, Grant. Thanks, man. And thanks for the contribution there, Fort George. I appreciate it. Yeah, I agree. I think Gooley, Jack-Eye, Struble, will they all be here in a few years? Who knows? Gooley probably. I think Reinbacher, though, will be a crease clear as he gets older here. He's got the size and physicality. He'll be fine. So the NHL's changed a bit too, right? It's not, you don't have to be as nasty as you used to be. So the game's kind of evolved in that sense. I can't watch the morning going hunting ptarmigan. I'll watch after the game. Okay, my friend. Ptarmigan. Here you go. Dano, Grant, alert. By the way, I scouted Dano. What's this? I scouted Dano today, and I'm going to put up a video tomorrow, or maybe even tonight, on for anybody that's a subscriber to my Patreon. Dano video going up at some point this weekend if I find the time. I did the video, downloaded it, but I need to add commentary, so I had to look at him. But okay, what are you saying? Alert! Dano. They didn't get to know, did they? I think it's these kids play spring hockey against each other. We cannot predict what Hugo will do. He's proven to make trades nobody sees coming. Very exciting times. Oh, VDAC late to the party. Bob Rob, LaPointe, Hughes, Gordon hit stand-up double with Slav, a home run with Hudson, single with Reinbacher, a single with Reinbacher. Okay. We'll see. Way too early to be doing that, saying that. Damn, I'm going to miss tomorrow's game. Have to take my grandson to his game. Oh yeah. If Reinbacher's a single, geez, give me singles. Was looking at standing stats. East is dominating the West this year. Holy frig. Really? Dano is a Canadian again? What? A second round draft pick. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Phil Dano traded for a second round pick. Well, I guess I better put up that video, eh? All right. I'm going to go upstairs. Or no, I'm not. I'm going to get the friggin' video right now. Do you want to watch it, guys? Go over his shifts in his last game? Want to keep going here? Yeah, the young lad's going to want Okay. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna start another live show here. Okay. Give me 10, 15 minutes. It's gonna be from the couch. So I'll put up a link and look for it in about 15 minutes. And I'll do a little. We'll do the video on Deneau and put it up. Oh no, Mark, don't worry about it. I'll just do it. I'll just do it from the couch. All right. See you guys in 15 minutes. Okay. Look for the link and I'll put it up on X too. All right. Bye for now.